5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Flat right over crest into flat left.
So the next piece to go is the TSS Fab trailing arms and the trailing arm mounts. And that's what this piece is. It's got 4 positions. I'll have to re-look on the website for the 4 positions for what this is. I know that obviously factory height, raised vehicles, and then you can go forward or backwards of the trailing arm mounts. I think it's because if you need more articulation, maybe for four-wheeling, whatever, rock crawling, adventure crawling, overlanding, you need the extra for it. So either way, these guys just mount right up, or should. Might not even have to do anything to the powder coating on these because there's enough clearance in the holes. Just to get it started. That's not going to do it. These are 17 millimeter. There we go. I'll get torque specs on these. Shit. Awesome. And I might be able to dent that back up and get something in there to hold that. But captive nut just snapped. I'm gonna go back through. Oh, don't do it. have to go through and thread chase this. Some of these. One snapped on me, but it's as far as I'm taking it. Yay. Not fun. Didn't even take any torque. Now I gotta figure out how to get that out of there. I think I'm gonna have to hammer up through here into this and slip something back in there. Probably another 19. And then I'm gonna have to clean these both out and hopefully they will not come through. Because that will mean I'll have to drill up through here right next to the gas tank, which not very happy to do so, but I will if I have to.
So, a lot of times, especially with older cars, which I'm sure that a lot of people run into this with older cars, because you don't ever run into it with a newer car, is you might have to chase threads, tap them back out. So far, I've run into 3 captive nuts that have broken themselves. You'll see that. But a lot of that has to do with corrosion from just being where it's at. It gets water, moisture, things like that, dirt, and yeah. So it's not a bad idea to buy the right stuff. This is a M12 by 1.25, just like lug nuts. The lug bolts, the thread pattern there, that's what these are for the body captive nuts, to hold on trailing arms, to hold on the subframe. It might not be a bad idea to get an M12 by 1.25 if you're going to be doing any of this type of work or any of this type of stuff in your car. So, on to chasing threads out and cleaning them out. And you may want to put just a little bit of cutting oil on this to cut through some of the grime and the nastiness, just in case. When you thread, only go about a quarter forward, come back a bit. So you got to clean out whatever gunk gets in the cutter. You'll know when you break through all the way, because it just goes real easy all the way through the rest of the threads. A lot of gunk and nastiness in there. Might not be a bad idea to have something to clean those threads out with. Just even clean the flutes out with it. You get all the nasty out. So you don't build it up and get it stuck, which you can do, and you can break your tap if you're not careful. There we go. Just a drop. Don't need much. This one I may have already chased. That's why it gets in there fairly easily, but it doesn't hurt to go with it with oil. Again. You want to also use dye to clean up the threads on the bolts, unless you're getting brand new bolts. Now this one is where the captive nut broke. I was able to get at it by opening this hole up. This is a factory hole. I was able to get at it by putting a 19mm wrench on it, or through that hole, to hold on to the captive nut that broke, free from its welds, to get it in place, or to be able to pull it out of there to get the screw back out, or the bolt back out. Hopefully though, when I go to tighten it back up, they're not going to break. Hopefully I've cleaned it out enough that it can just work with itself and not snap the captive welds off, which that can always be a possibility. Time to move to the other side. Let the tap do the work. It will work for you. You shouldn't have to put too much pressure on it. Let the tap do the work for you. Eventually you'll get through, and you won't be forcing it. Things like this, if you force it, it's a problem. Lots of gunk. So, in a pinch, if you don't have the die handle, you can use a pair of vice grips in a pinch, but not recommended, really. I don't have one at the moment, especially for as large of a die as this is, because this is a huge die. But, if anything, I can use this at least to clean it up, clean up my threads. Since they're already cut and they're not terrible, it won't be too bad. Just hold it with vice grips and 17mm. Just work through it slowly. When you feel it, go back. Forward, go back. That's all it is just working it through it, just to clean the threads out. Until you get to a point to where it's all cleaned out and you're just ready to go with it. I'm doing the last 2 to show you, but I've already done 4 of these in preps for those rear trailing arm mounts, or those trailing arm mounts on the body. Hopefully, I don't believe that they take too much torque. I'll look them up, and of course I'll tell you that, but hopefully I won't snap off any other captive nuts, and then once they're on, I won't have to do anything with them. They'll just be there. And the nice thing about the way that these bolts are set up and designed, they've got a washer and a lock washer built in. So, once you get it torqued in, once you get it locked in, it should be just fine. Shouldn't have to worry about it. The lock washer will keep it from backing out or doing anything weird. So, hopefully, I won't have to do anything with it. Same as when you do the body, the captive nuts. Run it through, you feel a little resistance, go only about 1/4 of the way, pull back. And then go forward about 1/4 of the way, pull back. Once you're done with all of the resistance on it, you should be able to just do it by finger. It may be a little bit, you can go back and forth with it. You can still cut threads in this way. But it'll be much easier to unthread and go through. Now I've got a dark but cut through bolt. These, of course, they get nasty and disgusting. So clean out these little pockets. Dirt, grime, and other material, steel, shavings, all things that can get caught up in your threads and get it stuck in place. That's better. Start by hand, you'll feel it better. Even at that, it's still got a little bit in it, so you can still go back and forth with it till you get to where you can oil it. Just a dab. And then run it through. My whole thing on this, unless it's like a tapered thread, you should be able to just do this all by hand real easily. Wrong size. One thing to note with the vice grips, you don't want to go and clamp too hard on these dies. They are hardened, so they're more brittle than, let's say, this is. So you don't want to clamp too hard. You just want to clamp enough to where it's not going to spin, where it's not going to release or anything like that. You're just rethreading holes, so it shouldn't be that you're cutting new threads through. You're opening up the threads that were already there and cleaning the gunk out of those threads. You shouldn't have to crank down on this if you don't have a die handle. It should be real easy to just go through by hand just to clean it all up. You need a die handle if you're cutting new threads or if it gets a lot harder than this. I'm just going through back and forth just to clean the threads out, just to make them much, much better. So where hopefully they'll go through all the way, and again, not break the captive nuts loose from their welds like this one. That captive nut, now it looks dirty throughout because it probably worked itself through, but this is one of the captive nuts. I ran the tap through it to thread chase it to maybe make it a little bit better, and I'm going to use this to hold it in place, this 19. Hopefully that hole they got in the body, I can just hold it in place. I may have to put a lock washer on this because this is normally welded into the body, and you don't need a lock washer because it's welded into the body, but that's why this has a lock washer right here.